I see the honourable member for Airdrie-Cochrane is rising on debate of the throne speech.
Thank you. I rise today, Mr. Speaker, as the proud MLA for Airdrie-Cochrane, the son of Winston and Barbara, the brother of Jeff and Glenda, the husband to Tracy, and the father of Mitchell and Cameron. This is a new electoral district northwest of Calgary, encompassing the southwest of Airdrie, Bearspaw, a portion of Rocky View, and Cochrane. It's a unique region on Treaty 7 land that combines urban communities with that of acreage living and rural farmlands. There's a long history of cattle ranching in the area, with family establishments like those of the Hansons west of Airdrie and the Harvey family, who in conjunction with the Alberta government in 2006 created Glenbow Ranch Provincial Park. And I must admit, I look forward to the bull and cattle sales that take place at Sauter Glen Ranch each year. In fact, every February, Stan and Jane Grad, the owners of Sauter Glen, they host a large bull sale that attracts buyers from across this province and beyond. I'm no longer in the cattle business, but I must say that the steak sandwich they provide is pretty okay. And the conversation even better. Farmers and ranchers always have great stories to tell, and I'm always interested to hear about those. Although not in our constituency, but a positive influence, I'd like to mention the Stoney Nakoda Nation to our west and the Tsuut'ina Nation to the south, as we share many of the same values, resources, and infrastructure. I look forward to learning more about the First Nations traditions and developing a long-standing relationship with them. In 1992, I obtained a chemical engineering degree from the University of Alberta. My first field of work comprised of 8 years of sales and marketing in the pulp and paper industry, traveling throughout Alberta, Western Canada, the US, and abroad, including 3 memorable trips to India. But sometimes, life doesn't always go as planned. In 1998, my brother-in-law, Arlen Demarsk, was 25 years old and was destined to take over the family ranch in Consort, Alberta. The Demarsks are known for their hard work and work ethic, and Arlen fit that definition perfectly. He was not a man of many words, but he had a wit about him that was very enjoyable. In May of that year, he was involved in a tragic farming accident. This accident left him paralyzed, and in December of 1998, he passed away. After the birth of our son, Mitchell, a few months later, my wife, school teacher, and I, we set aside our careers, and in the spring of 2000, we moved to Consort in order to help on the family's ranch. Now, for a townie, this was an eye-opening and humbling experience, managing and working in a 3,000 head feedlot with 450 cows to boot. However, over time, I gained invaluable life and business experiences, including some wonderful times calving in the spring, but also turbulent ones having to deal with both drought and BSE. The 2-year time horizon we gave ourselves turned into 10 and saw the birth of our daughter Cameron. Along our travels on family trips away from Consort, we made many stops for ice cream at McKay's in Cochrane's historic downtown, and we fell in love with the community. So when we purchased our small business in Calgary, we made Cochrane our home. I've been a Cochrane resident for 10 years, with 8 of those as a small business owner in Calgary. My wife Tracy and I owned and operated a successful franchise business. In 2015, with changes to the political landscape, both provincially and federally, resulting in taxation and policy changes that we felt were detrimental to small businesses and to the vast majority of Albertans, we decided to make a change in our lives. So in 2017, we sold our business and entered the political realm. I felt that I had a background that, although it did not include politics, was one that was well representative of Alberta, and especially the constituency of Airdrie-Cochrane. Our electoral district has over 51,000 residents, and as Airdrie and Cochrane are two of the fastest growing communities in Canada, this area is bound to continue growing at a strong pace. This region is a corridor for transporting goods, and due to its picturesque views overlooking the Rocky Mountains, it is desirable for both tourism and for those wishing to escape life in the big city. Naturally, this growth comes with its challenges, from healthcare and urgent care demands to senior living and palliative care concerns. Transportation infrastructure is at its limit. Cochrane, for instance, has no major interchange in a town approaching 30,000 people. So with the Bow River separating the town from north and south, and with single-lane traffic on both Highway 1A and 22, it creates high traffic congestion and is a safety risk for all travelers on these roadways. The small-town Western motif that residents take pride in can sometimes be lost waiting in long lines. A solution to these traffic woes is desperately needed. It should be no surprise that when I first began my door-knocking campaign that I started with visits to the small business community, and I found some pretty interesting and unique establishments. For instance, from Cochrane, we have Krang Spirits, a distillery serving up some pretty tasty vodka, I might say, and Half Hitch Brewing Company. Great food, and I'd recommend trying the Fire and Fury. That's my favorite ale they have on tap. And then from Airdrie, we have Sorso Lounge and Espresso Bar. Very popular, serving up some great eats. Should also note that our constituency hosts two vibrant weekend farmers markets every summer, with one in Cochrane and on Saturdays and one in Bearspaw on Sundays. Our electoral district also has attracted business from the high-tech sector. As a home base for Garmin, which has its Canadian headquarters in Cochrane, and 4i Innovations, supplying various technology-based products with a focus on athletics. But the largest private employer and contributor to our community is Spray Lake Sawmills. This upcoming year, they will be celebrating 76 years of operations in Alberta. Chester Melsness founded this company in 1943, and it is still a family-run business, owned and operated now by his son Barry. The mill operates on a 200-year forest management plan and utilizes every part of the tree, including shavings and bark. In fact, they created a thriving business called Top Spray from this product once considered waste. Spray Lakes understands that having a healthy forest is the centerpiece of maintaining a viable, prolific business, and this is why they take great pride in conservation efforts of this renewable resource. Over 40,000 Albertans make their living from forestry, approximately $7 billion in annual economic activity for this province. Alberta is recognized as a world leader in forest stewardship, and by managing our forests sustainably, we can have a healthy industry and help control the effects of fires and pest infestations. I hear a lot about diversifying the economy in this province, but it is impossible to have your core sectors such as agriculture, forestry, and energy suffer and think that other industries will want to invest here. Economic diversification does not occur because a government decides it should occur. Diversification happens off the strengths of your core industries, and the government has to put those conditions into place for both core industries and diversification to prevail. With many of the companies I spoke with, they identified several issues as barriers to doing business in Alberta. Those included high taxation, a stifling regulatory regime, as well as increasing costs of goods and labor. I believe many of these hurdles have been addressed in the speech from the throne, including first, the Carbon Tax Repeal Act, which will make life more affordable for all Albertans. Next, the Job Creation Tax Cut, which will provide Alberta companies with the lowest taxes in Canada. Next, the Open for Business Act. This will play a key role in creating jobs and alleviating recent cost burdens placed on employers, and the Red Tape Reduction Act, which will allow business and government the ability to focus on focus outside of a suffocating regulatory jurisdiction that has been created in this province. All of these initiatives being done with the main goal of creating good-paying jobs for Albertans. And in order to do that, we must create an environment that is positive for investment. By increasing revenue and developing a strong economic base, we can, as government, look forward to reducing our deficits and putting us on a path to a balanced budget. The challenges that lie ahead over the next 4 years are great, but I believe we have a terrific team with a new philosophy that will rise to the occasion. Mr. Speaker, it is a privilege to be here in Alberta's legislature representing a new riding of Airdrie-Cochrane. I will do my utmost to serve its constituents, respect this House, and assist my colleagues in achieving our goals. Thank you to the Assembly, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to move to adjourn debate on the speech from the throne.